Let's get physical. It's Jordan here, back again with this week's update on all the physical releases coming to the Nintendo Switch March the 24th until the 28th. Let's see what we've got this week. Hello Kitty Island Adventure is releasing physically this week after a successful digital launch on Switch a couple of months back. I'm not very au fait with the Sanrio characters, aside from my daughter went through a cinnamon roll phase a few years back, and she always reprimands me when I accidentally call it Kurumi. Apparently, unlike a mother ton of shovelware games under this franchise, this is supposed to be really good. A fantastic cozy game for Animal Crossing fans to delve into. Even I'm half interested in buying it and seeing it for myself. I mean, for my daughter. Totally for my daughter. And my executive producers, Arzette, Punky Dooster, and Jennifer M, have chosen this as their pick of the week. And if you want it or any of the retail games in this video, please consider purchasing via the links in the description and pinned comment. That massively helps me out with this series to keep producing physical content for you guys. VGP are a really great company with cheap prices in Canadian Monopoly money and free worldwide shipping on orders over 80 Canadian bucks, which is less than 60 American dollars these days. Plus, each week, if you buy something, you are put into a draw to have a chance of winning a $10 discount coupon. And this week's winner is Dan G. Congratulations, Dan G. You should get an email from VGP with your discount coupon in the coming days if you haven't got it already. Thank you so much for your support and everyone else out there. What else have we got? Care Bears, Unlock the Magic. Well, I feel this isn't quite in the same license tie-in league as Hello Kitty Island Adventure. This appears to be a party game for one person. Yeah, it seems like it's set up in a Mario Party fashion with like a board game and then mini games, but you only play it alone. To be fair, I would assume most adult fans of Care Bears are used to being alone. Of course, this is for children, and it is worth pointing out that this is a different game to the one that was released physically in Japan a few months back. That was more of an action platformer, and it did have multiplayer. I think I would prefer that one if I had a gun to my head and I had to choose. Or maybe I choose the bullet instead, who knows? But my executive producer, D's Nuts, living up to his name in a very different way, has chosen this as his pick of the week. Kemono Heroes is getting a physical release in Europe this week. This feels a bit like when Gandalf came back from the dead, a digital-only game that was delisted from the eShop a couple of years back, but it's back, and this time it's a physical release, at least in Europe. This is an action platformer, a bit of a run and gun, can be played in single player, but you can also have 4 players together, which is where the game really shines, so I've heard. I don't believe there are any drastic changes since the original release, but things have been tightened up a bit. This physical release is coming in a standard edition, as well as a collector's edition for Switch and PlayStation 5. Video Games Plus will be getting in copies of this if you live in North America and you want a convenient way of picking it up. And my executive producer, Ethan Blue, has chosen this as his pick of the week. Bubble Ghost Remake is releasing this week, a remake of a game I'd never heard of before, but apparently it was popular in certain regions on certain systems, the most famous one being the Game Boy edition. This is a solid remake as you guide a bubble around a haunted mansion with lots and lots of hazards in the way. I've been playing it for a little bit and you know what, it's pretty fun. Quite limited in its scope, but I can't deny I haven't been enjoying the challenge. Simple but enjoyable. The physical release in North America and Europe, there is a standard edition, but Europe is also graced with a collector's edition that has some extra goodies inside of it. And my executive producers, Fawn Metal Luna and Jake Vav, have chosen this as their pick of the week. Little Kitty Big City is a very well-loved game. Reviews for it from gamers have been really good. It's like a slightly happier version of Stray, incredibly charming and wholesome, and the perfect day in the life of a cat simulator. A bit of mischief thrown in, so you know, if you enjoy games like Untitled Goose Game, like me and my daughter did, playing it together, then you'll probably enjoy this. In fact, as I was typing this, I promptly got up from my chair and went and bought it digitally so we can play it this evening. Call me a blaspheme if you want, but I want to play it tonight, okay? I think this should be on your game list if you enjoy games like this. The physical release comes with a downloadable soundtrack, a mini booklet, and a poster. And my executive producers, Instacritic, Jeddah Crow, Super Ben Julio, Adamantium, Sora Cat, Brotorius, they've chosen this as their pick of the week. Arzette, the Jewel of Faramore is releasing physically in Europe this week. I did not expect this. I know Limited Run would like to get money back on their investment, but I thought this would be too niche for a retail release in, Estonia. Maybe it's to show the Moldovans how revered they were for their terrible animation on the Zelda games that inspired this game. It's entirely possible. But yeah, I like the look of this game quite a lot. And my executive producers, Ishin and Dave Hustwaite, have chosen this as their pick of the week. KEMCO RPG Selection Volume 1 is releasing in North America this week, finally. Yeah, somehow, someone, somewhere thought, yeah, these would do a solid at retail. Why not? 4 budget RPGs on 1 cartridge, also PS5. I do wonder if these North American releases will actually catch up to the Japanese ones, or will they give up after a couple of volumes? I'm very excited to see. I'm easily excited. And my executive producer, God of Resin, has chosen this as his pick of the week. Alright, the low print limited releases. There's only 1 this week, at least as far as I can tell, unless I missed something. A Highland Song is Super Rare's latest game, with only 3,000 copies being available on Thursday. This is a short adventure game starring a bonny lass running away from home. It's a game designed to make you cry, make you have the feels, and all the things that would make Chuck Norris ashamed of you. But yeah, positive reviews all around. I can't imagine it selling its entire stock, anytime soon, but it's a nice game nonetheless. If you want it, be there on Thursday. I think on the same day, Super Rare are having a big sale on their site where you can get some of their older games for 50% off if you buy 4 or more. And something tells me that maybe in the same list next year, this game might be there. Not a slight on the game, I just think, is there demand? I don't know. But my executive producers, Lewis K, Precision Plague, Robotech, Brent McLean, and Vast Neon have chosen this as their pick of the week. Alright, let's jump into the imports. The links down below for these are for Play Asia. And if you click the link, you also support me, and I can support you too with the discount code Jordan2025 for 5% off. And as an aside, if you're new here, or maybe you're not the kind to normally do so, please do subscribe. The bigger this channel is, the more publishers will pay attention to physical media. Do your bit, okay? Plus, I want to get to 30,000 subscribers before the end of the year, if possible. I'm on track, but it's going to be a close call, so let's do it, guys, okay? What does Japan and Asia have this week? They have Nanpure Relax and Classic Seasons Collection. This will be the only Sudoku game that you will ever need in your life, that I promise. This contains 7 games of Sudoku in a cheap, cheerful package. The physical is only releasing in Japan, and it will have English, so if you can only count up to 9 and you like filling things in a logical way, go for it. KEMCO RPG Selection Volume 9 is proof that the Western release of Volume 1 has got a lot of catching up to do. And also Volume 10 is on the horizon, as you will know if you watch my upcoming imports video from a few days ago. Sticking with the present though, Volume 9 has As Divine Saga, Ghost Sync, Ambition Record, and my favorite game name ever, Sword of Elpisia. I love it. The Japanese and Asian physical releases do have English, and there is a bit of a cult following around these games these days. Maybe I started something. But my executive producers, they, Dave Hallworth, The Nemo 6, Josh Foote, and Wixit, have chosen this as their pick of the week. Told ya. Little Devil Foster Mayhem is releasing physically, exclusively in Southeast Asia. This is a peculiar game, not one would expect from an import exclusive. It's a game where you are an adopted kid and want to repay your new parents by being a bit of a prick. At least that's what I get from the premise, and I would be very worried if the plot was any deeper than that. Fingers crossed they don't try and ruin the mood. But this Chaos Simulator does play in English, and it is probably fun. Hookah Haze, is it finally releasing this week? Feels like I've talked about this ethereal physical for a couple of years now, but yeah, finally you should be able to smoke shisha with big booby anime girls while you're on your deathbed. What a way to go! There's adventure elements here, and I really love the visual presentation. I'm definitely in the mood for pixel visual novels at this point in my life. The physical is only coming in a mini collector's edition, which is fairly affordable. You get an acrylic standee of each of the girls, you get a downloadable soundtrack, and also an acrylic brick, presumably to crack people who caught you playing it over the head with. It will play in English, and my executive producers, Cartoon Soren, Ghost Bune, Kevin W, Feig, and Surfacing for Air have chosen this as their pick of the week. Rose and Camellia Collection is releasing in Asian regions this week. I'm not sure about Japan, but this Asian release does have English. Something in my brain is telling me the Japanese release didn't have English. I could be wrong though. Either way, this is a pretty unique game that Limited Run did a short while back. It's a slapping simulator, a bit of drama, a bit of over-the-top humor. Not played it myself, but I'm sure it would be a decent distraction. And my executive producer, Alexander Kato, has chosen this as his pick of the week. S.T.A.L.K.E.R Legends of the Zone Trilogy is releasing in Japan this week to the disappointment of many. Not because it's not good, I mean it's a great idea to have 3 fantastic games physically, but because it's 3 fantastic games with a download required. It's not a code in a box bullshit thing, but it's a download required nonsense. I need to think of a better term for that. I think all 3 games could fit on a cart if they spent the money for it, but they went the cheap option, which is a big shame in my eyes because this had the potential to be one of the best imports of all time. Now it's nothing more than a curiosity. But it does have English, so up to you. Japan is also getting these games, none of which have English. Maybe one day we'll get a Winning Post game in English one day in the future. Alright, let's jump into the community spotlight. Brian G sent in this photo with 9 games, one assumes from 3 different VGP orders. I do have some criticism with my videos about why I focus a lot on VGP. Because I earn money from them, of course, that's one reason. But just look at this photo and you will see it is also because they do some really good things for gamers. Big discounts, big reprints, complete on cart editions. Like, who else is doing this at this very moment? Nobody. So that's why I give them so much press. The money helps as well, of course. Executive producer Cartoon Soren sent in this photo with a game I'm very interested in playing, but sadly wasn't very interested in the super rares prices these days. Cavern of Dreams does look like a lovely game, I'll give it that. Burning Kitsune Mask sent in this photo, picking up some interesting games. The Trilogy of Rise, I can't go wrong there, and the Asian edition of the Mario 3D Collection. Now don't quote me on this, but I think that Asian version might be the most affordable way to pick up, these days. Crazy prices all round though. Executive producer Dave Horworth sent in this photo, where you can see the best price edition of Little Witch Nabetta. I think that might be the best cover art, also the best price. Pab sent in this photo, picking up Gal Guardians Demon Purge, maybe just in time for the sequel, which is coming out soon digitally, but the physical release has been pushed back to the summer for some unknown reason. Executive producer Feig sent in this photo with Senran Banker, which VGP do have stock in. I know a VN isn't always a kind of genre for people to rush out and buy, but this was quite expensive for a short while. Executive producer Ghost Bune sent in this photo of Suikoden. See, 3 people in the comments, I can say Suikoden properly, I just choose not to, okay? McLaren sent in this photo with some bonus items for Suikoden that looks like they would have been like store exclusives somewhere in Japan. Boy, do they love their store exclusives over there. The executive producer Instacritic sent in this photo with one of the more obscure imports, Disney Music Parade Encore. I'm surprised this never got a Western physical, the only English one being in Southeast Asia, this one that you can see right now. Executive producer Ishin sent in this photo, picking up the new release of The Messenger. Fantastic that this is getting a second chance so people can buy it more affordably. Needless Dragon sent in this photo, picking up East 10 Nordics. I heard that Japan recently announced an updated version of this game, which is a shame since it hasn't really been out that long in the West. Maybe NIS America could have waited for the director's cut version instead of the base version, but did they know? Who knows? Executive producer JCross7776 sent in this photo with Silent Hope, which in North America only came in this bigger edition, which I don't think did it too many favors. It jacked up the price to higher than probably what the game warranted. Executive producer Kevin W sent in this photo with these 2 games. I do wonder how long support for the Trail series will go on the Switch. There are so many nowadays that I think it might be the best like console to play the series on, aside from maybe the PS4. I think that has slightly more. Executive producer Louis K sent in this photo, who got in the Dominus collection. Nice to see that out and about now. I'm sure that means VGP will get stock in the coming weeks if you want a second chance of having one of the best retro collections on the system. And yes, I'm currently writing my retro compilations video, and that will be out very soon, and I will praise the living hell out of the Castlevania ones. Reg sent in this photo picking up 3 Switch games I'm actually interested in playing, especially Conscript, which looks great, survival horror and World War I trenches, bring it on. Executive producer Precision Plague sent in this photo with an absolute wealth of games. Good to see that Super Rare finally got out the Mortuary Assistant. That took them a long time to get out, like way more than usual. Executive producer Super Ben Julio sent in this photo picking up Xenoblade Chronicles X. It's been out a few days now. I know it's a massive game, but I would love to know the thoughts of those who never played it on the Wii U. Like, what do you think of it? Is it what you expected? Executive producer Surfacing for Air sent in this photo, getting in a triple helping of premium edition games. Sadly, I don't believe they're available to purchase anywhere at the minute or anymore, but hopefully there'll be a second chance for the leftovers. Hopefully that will open soon. The one sent in this photo with Xenoblade X's Origins. I have a lot of nostalgia about the Wii U version. It reminds me of a long, cold winter with coffee warmed up on a portable radiator, trying to get over a breakup. Thankfully, I did get over the breakup by marrying her, so all's well that ends well. Executive producer Vei, my man in Japan, sent in this photo with another Xenoblade. I did get offered a code from Nintendo to do an impressions video or like a review, but they wanted to give it me on launch day rather than early like other channels, so I said no. Alright, let's have a roundup. Tracy Y, Ivan O, Devil Angel, Stefan N, Robin H, Cultured Weeb, Ashura G, Stay in the Grave, Morality, Cressa Lack, Mickey McFlynn, Noble Panda. Alright, if you want to send me your pictures, the details are on the screen right now. Special thanks, as always, to my executive producers, Dane Wilkinson, God of Resin, Brent McLean, Alexander Cato, JCross7776, Punky Dooster, Cartoon Soren, Robotech, Raven Knight, Thorn Metal Luna, Issa, Vei, Orphone, Instacritic, Precision Play, Alex M, Feig, Josh Foot, Hishin, Louis K, Kevin W, Jennifer M, Super Ben Julio, Double Dave, Husway and Horworth, Wixit, Sora Cat, The Nemo 6, Ghost Bune, G Bautista 100, Rose, Adamantium, Azrith, Jake Vav, Ethan Blue, D's Nuts, Jeddah Crow, Rotorius, Surfacing for Air, Justin PDC, and Vast Neon. Thank you so much for your support, plus you watching right now. Yes, if you watched all the way through, please leave me a bubble emoji in the comments in honor of the Bubble Ghost remake. Why did I choose that one? I don't know, I'm just looking at the script right now and I saw bubble. Give me a bubble. Go check out some of my other stuff. Got a lot of stuff as always, and I do greatly appreciate your support. Thank you so much and have a great week.